In 1922, the year A. A. Milne was 40 and 2 years before the first of the famous children's books was published, a caption to his photograph in a London newspaper carried the words, "Milne came to Fleet Street years ago in search of a fortune. As a dramatist, his income at times ranges from £200 to £500 a week." This really was a fortune in 1922. It was more in a week than most people earned in a year. That joking boast, England's premier playwright, which Alan Milne had used when signing a letter to his brother Ken in 1917, was never exactly justified, but he was certainly one of England's most successful, prolific, and best-known playwrights for a brief period, a fact that now seems almost incredible when so many people who know his name and love his books have no idea that he ever wrote plays. It was in 1919 that A. A. Milne had joined the Garrick Club. The club was to give him a great deal of pleasure, a refuge, another home, particularly in the 30s. Pleasure he would reward on his death with a share of the Pooh royalties. The Garrick was the appropriate club for a playwright. The Garrick was full of actors. It was full of writers, too. Milne in 1919 was ambitious, and not just to make a lot of money. Towards the end of his life, he summed up his feelings like this. "Of all the foolish things which Dr. Johnson said, the most foolish was, 'No man but a blockhead ever wrote except for money.' What he should have said was that a writer, having written what pleased him, was a blockhead if he did not sell it in the best market. But a writer wants something more than money for his work. He wants permanence. He yearns for the immortality, even if only in the British Museum, of stiff covers." Milne made sure that most of his plays were published in an attractive, uniform edition from Chatto and Windus, in a stylish brown cloth with a well-designed label on the spine. "It is very jolly indeed," he told his novelist friend and editor Frank Swinnerton when he saw the proofs of first plays. 20 of Milne's plays survive in this form, and not only in the British Museum. But the true immortality was to come, of course, from the children's books, a fact he would live to realise and regret. The play that was Milne's first real success was Mr. Pym Passes By, which opened at the New Theatre in London on the 5th of January 1920. It was a hard audience to woo. The great successes of the 1920s were Chu Chin Chow and Hassan, glamorous and specifically exotic musical shows, which fulfilled to perfection people's need for a good night out. In the straight theatre, the playwright's best hope was to make people laugh. He also had to remember all sorts of practical things. Theatres were less well-disciplined places than they usually are today. If yours is an 8:15 play, you may be sure that the stalls will not fill up till 8:30, and you should therefore let loose the lesser-paid members of the cast in the opening scene. You should be careful not to waste your jokes on the first 5 pages of dialogue.